Hi, I'm Jonah Comstock, editor-in-chief at pharmaphorum. I'm here in San Francisco for the JPM conference. I'm with Andrew Beck, the CEO of PathAI. Thanks for talking to me today, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
So, for folks who don't know Path, tell me a little bit about just the 15-second pitch. What do you guys do?
So we build AI for applications in pathology to drive improved patient outcomes. So it's going to be a little more than 15 seconds, but if you were to go to the doctor and want to be evaluated for a serious condition like a cancer, frequently they take a tissue biopsy, they send it to a lab, they take a slice of it, put it on a glass slide. And historically, like 100% of that was just a pathologist who's a trained physician looking under a microscope. But what we've seen over the past 5 years and the tremendous growth we expect over the next decade is increasingly images from those glass slides will be digitized using whole slice imaging systems, which creates these massive images of microscopic scale granularity. And the PathAI platform ingests these images and deploys deep learning algorithms on the images to understand every cell in the image, to help support diagnoses. And then we have algorithm products that support work in drug development as well as work in diagnostic laboratories.
So using those images not just to make the pathology more efficient, but also other use cases for that data, including in life sciences.
Exactly. So our work on the diagnostic side is aimed at increasing efficiency, quality, standardization through both our digital pathology platform called AI Site DX, as well as we're building a large library of algorithms to support efficiency, quality, access to precision diagnostics on the diagnostic side. But on the life sciences side, we really have three big pieces of where we work. One is generating new insights from pathology samples from completed clinical trials. So that's our work in translational research, which spans oncology, inflammatory bowel disease, and various other GI diseases, as well as liver diseases. So we have a set of three products focused there. Path Explore and IHC Explore in oncology, IBD Explore for inflammatory bowel disease, and Liver Explore for liver diseases such as MASH. And then we also support prospective clinical trials in the life sciences. So how do you generate very accurate, reproducible data from pathology samples prospectively in trials that in certain cases our algorithms assist patient enrollment and endpoint assessment, like our work in MASH. And we can also generate this supportive and exploratory quantitative pathology data across oncology, IBD, and liver diseases and trials. And the third piece of our pharma life sciences business is partnering with pharma to co-develop AI-powered tissue-based companion diagnostics. So this would be the co-development of products that would be approved along with a new therapy that identified the patient subset who respond best to that new therapy.
Right. Interesting. So, what are you here to talk about at the conference? Any news this year? Anything you've announced?
A couple of things. We're discussing our significant growth in 2025. We're really starting to see an inflection in the field overall, as well as at PathAI. So we saw an over 10x growth in adoption of our diagnostic platform and the utilization of our platform AI Site for viewing images, as well as for deploying AI onto images. We had two major regulatory approvals in 2025. On the diagnostic side, we obtained a 510K with the industry's first predetermined change control plan, or PCCP, for our AI Site DX product to support primary digital diagnosis for diagnostic labs. And we also achieved the industry's first AI approval or AI clearance as part of the biomarker qualification program by both the EMA mid-year and the FDA in December.
Oh, wow.
For our AIM-MASH tool. So it's the first AI tool to assist pathologists for both enrollment and endpoint assessment for this important liver disease called MASH. So we announced those advances. And I think the other thing that's just really exciting is just the overall growth we're seeing more broadly in the utilization of digital pathology and AI for both the life sciences as well as for diagnostics. So we're really at this kind of early part of the growth accelerating, so we can see a future, 5 years from now, where instead of 10% of slides being digitized, 90 to 100% are being digitized, where AI is materially increasing efficiency as well as quality in these two important areas, drug development as well as diagnostics.
I know that in the early days of like medical AI, imaging was one of the most promising sort of, I don't want to say low hanging fruit. That makes it sound easier than it is, but I mean, like people saw the value there pretty quickly and pretty quickly were able to sort of prove in some studies that AI, computer vision was able to operate on par with, professional radiologists. But what has the sort of journey been like in the intervening years to really action that and build it into a product?
Yeah, so one, pathology has certain challenges that radiology didn't face because while a lot of radiology is intrinsically digital, pathology does start out with the glass slide. So in terms of the early adoption, one thing that's been more difficult is this overall transformation from glass slides to digital images. So
And digital images of the like quality and fidelity that you need, right?
of the quality and fidelity, exactly, and speed and cost, et cetera. So the decreasing costs of whole set imaging systems, as well as more availability, decreasing costs of cloud computing, have been real accelerants to where we are today versus where we were 5 years ago. I would say, so that's one, is just like, that takes time to develop in pathology. And that's why one of the reasons pathology is a bit behind radiology in terms of routine digital sign out. And then the digital sign out then becomes the substrate for AI. So although the AI worked, it's not accessible and distributable until the field becomes digital. So we're really seeing that start to happen we have seen that start to happen over the last couple of years, and it's going to accelerate even more over the next 5 to 10 years. A couple other things. I mean, the AI models just keep getting better. So although they worked for single point solutions 5 years ago, now we have these broad foundation models and products that can work for hundreds of different diagnoses, and it's going to scale across all types. So I think point solutions don't provide the value that a broad set of solutions can provide. And that's where we're also headed. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily surprising to us. I think we saw that was probably how the field was going to unfold. And part of why we started in life sciences and translational research was because those images were already digital or relatively easy to digitize, and we could apply these models, generate insights, generate value very quickly. And then the diagnostic piece, we built the whole platform for diagnosis with the support of the whole clinical workflow. So that takes time to build, but once it's in place, it becomes very sticky, and then that becomes the platform to then deploy the AI. So yeah, that's kind of how it's unfolding. So to your question, the sort of AI working was only one piece of it. These other things had to come along as well to bring it all together.
Tell me about the companion diagnostic piece. Like, how does that work? And what's like maybe an example use? You don't have to name a company, but like, what would it look like?
So one thing so in fields, I think that most clear example to think about would be this whole burgeoning field of antibody drug conjugates in oncology. So you have these specific therapies targeting specific proteins that can be measured by immunohistochemistry, IHC. And I don't know if you ever looked at a glass slide, but scoring IHC by eye is extremely difficult, particularly for quantitative measurements of how many cells are expressing a protein and even what intensity they're expressing it at. So it's something that's just essentially impossible to do by eye because there's, say, on the orders of 100,000 cancer cells on a slide. So to ask someone to say which ones are 2+ or 10% 2+, it's very difficult to do manually. And it's very, very important to ensure that you're targeting the right patients, to have a technology that can actually measure every cell and measure its intensity. So one, there's just a real problem in certain areas such as ADC development. So we often get involved early. So someone will say, we're staining a cohort with immunohistochemistry. We want a technology to better understand which patients are responding and which patients aren't, and what's the pathology criteria that's causing that. So it's usually a three-way partnership. It's PathAI as the AI provider. We partner closely with Roche Tissue Diagnostics as the IHC assay manufacturer, and then the pharma who's developing the therapy. And typically we do signal finding, which is this sort of exploratory research using a tool like our IHC Explorer. And then depending on what we find, that then becomes the guide for companion diagnostic product development. And then we'll develop that companion diagnostic product in close lockstep with the therapeutic developer, such that you could imagine we find a signal retrospectively on a phase 1 or a phase 2 cohort, we build the product, and then it can actually be deployed into a phase 3 trial such that, it could be defining a population that could lead to a regulatory approval of a therapy, along with this AI-powered IHC scoring that identifies that subset of patients. So we're seeing really good fit for this technology with areas like ADCs, bispecifics, really anytime drug developers are trying to identify patient subsets using tissue pathology. That could be H&E stain slides or IHC stain slides.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time, so just it's only day one of the conference, but what are you hearing? What are you seeing in terms of like trends to look out for in the next year?
Yeah, I think we're seeing, at least in our area, just an increased commitment on both sides, the drug development side and the diagnostic side, that the future is going to be digital and that AI is tremendously powerful for doing a number of things in parallel, generating new insights, increasing efficiency, increasing quality. So I think overall we're seeing this really nice convergence of appreciation on both the drug development side and the diagnostic side.
Great. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
That concludes another episode of the pharmaphorum podcast. You can find more information about this episode, including a download link and information about previous installments, at pharmaphorum.com/podcast. The pharmaphorum podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Podbean, and pretty much wherever else you download your podcasts. Just search for pharmaphorum and follow and hit subscribe. Of course, don't forget to visit the website itself, where you can sign up for daily and weekly news and analysis bulletins, and follow us on Blue Sky and LinkedIn at pharmaphorum. That's PharmaPhorum. That's all for now. Thanks for listening.